Thank you, Chair. I also want to thank the Governor and the team from Financial Intelligence Agency. I just have one issue for clarification arising out of 23.3 on page 3, vicarious liability. Mr. Governor, your role or duty is to do a prudential oversight and risk management. But your observations to do with the vicarious liability of directors, you say this should be removed. You are dealing with, I don't want to call them your sons, but banks and financial institutions. Most of them are artificial entities, meaning that they're acting through a medium of human beings because they're artificial entities. They are persons but artificial. And as such, not being human entities, they act through a medium of human beings as the directing mind and will of those entities, the nerve center. Is there a possibility of taking the memorandum and articles of association in the dock in case of liability? You definitely have to take the human beings. So if they are not vicariously liable, the only option is to get the books, the resolutions, and you put them in the dock. So when you remove this, how are you going to exercise and monitor the performance of functions which are illegal by human beings on behalf of entities?
Chair, I'll start with the question asked by Honorable Fox-Odoy, that the first oil is going to sort out our problems, so we shouldn't be worried about the balance of payments. Honorable Fox-Odoy, let me just give you the history of this financing of this oil. The development of the upstream and the downstream has largely been undertaken through loans. If you look at the growth of debt in Uganda, it's partly to develop that infrastructure. Now, the debt repayment that is associated with, currently we are having huge amounts of debt repayment, partly, made possible by the loans. Take, for example, those oil roads and what have you, right? That's all borrowed money. So we are currently paying about $2 billion per annum, and we are going to continue for the next 4 or 5 years paying that that $2 billion per annum. And then if you look at the private sector, the likes of the Sinuk, Total, and what have you, they have invested money here, right? This money is either borrowed as debt or equity. Now, if this debt, they need to begin repaying that debt in their capacity as private individuals. So whatever money that they will get from the oil, okay, their portion, they'll use some of it to pay debt. If they make profits, they have to pay dividends to the shareholders, if it's equity. Now, most of that money is going to be paid out for debt and not coming back. So, that first oil is not sufficient to handle our problems the way it is. And besides, you have the tenfold growth. Even without the tenfold growth, this oil will not bail us out significantly, given the outflows that are associated with it. Now, with the tenfold growth, like I told you, we need every of about 51 billion per annum to sustain that thing there. So, and if you do value addition and what have you, there's import content required for value addition. Right? You cannot do 100% value addition. You have to import some things to add in order to increase value on our natural products. You are talking of the iron ore in Kabale. You need to import some of the stuff, equipment, right, to add value to that thing there. So all this money there are outflows that are linked with it. So the first oil will not be able to be a substitute if this bill is to be enacted. Okay. Chair, Honorable Katuntu raises a very important point, and I entirely agree with him. We shouldn't be here interacting with you. This should have been done at a much earlier stage. it is really unfortunate we're here doing this. So I agree with you. And that partly answers what Honorable Oduro also mentioned, whether we had any interaction with the executives. The answer is no, we didn't have any interaction with the executives. Now, Honorable Oduro, also you raised the issue about, well, I'm not talking about the competence, I'm talking about the regulatory fragmentation, right? Because if the Ministry of Internal Affairs is going to have a say on what we're going to do, it's going to have an implication on our mandate. I told you about the impact on the balance of payments, but I did not even tell you a bigger picture. The mandate of Bank of Uganda is to promote price stability and foster a sound financial system. Now, what is the impact of this bill if it's passed in the way it is on price stability? Because of the depreciation of the currency, that is an unintended consequence of this bill, we are likely to have a depreciation of the currency, and the pass-through of imported items into the domestic prices is going to raise prices significantly. So our inflation is going to increase via the depreciation exchange rate. So it means that we should either tighten monetary policy further if we are going to contain inflation, or we allow inflation to go beyond the 5% if we don't want to raise interest rates. So that's what we have to couple with. This inflation of 3% we have been enjoying is likely to be compromised, all right, through the currency depreciation. And also it has implications on the financial stability of the country. Because if you look at our financial markets, there's what we call the swap market, there's what we call all these correspondent transactions, all the things that deal with the foreigners who are financing the thing here. They are creating stability in this market. If you look at, for example, the recent index by the okay, maybe I'm getting hungry. Okay, I was saying it also has implications on the financial stability of the country. Because if you look at the inflows that are coming through the financial account of the balance of payments, once this dry up, it means that the liquidity conditions in the banking sector are also going to be affected. So, and if they're going to be affected and the banks have extended credits, long-term credits, maybe to their customers and what have you, and they cannot easily get liquidity to fund, the demand conditions in the economy, then it means that you are going to have financial instability. And also in terms of the regulatory requirements, if there's need to provide, in case you made losses, non-performing loans, and you are supposed to provide for those losses, and given all these provisions, it will be difficult for you to replenish, whatever's capital has been eroded because of the loss that you have gotten, and that increases chances of financial instability in the economy. And then also in the private sector, there is what we call the foreign exchange swaps. The amount of transactions taking place there on a daily basis is about anywhere between $100 to $200 million, largely explaining why our currency is partly stable. We have moved demand from spot into the swap markets. And these swap markets trade between $100 to $200 million per day, largely funded by offshore players. Once that dries up, instability is likely to come. So the aspect of money supply via inflation certainly gets affected. And therefore, that's why we're saying that it will be very difficult, for us. If these people were, in our past, what would we do? It will be a very challenging environment that we'll have to deal with. We have to take aggressive monetary policy tightening, which will either constrain growth further, leave alone the fact that investments are not coming. And now if you want to control inflation, it means that you have to raise interest rates. And then there are going to be problems in the banking sector. We'll need to maybe ask for more capital in case, the loans become non-performing. So, Chair, I don't want to go on. I think let me leave it there. Yeah.
Governor, you are doing very well. As you can see, the honorable legislators are really appreciating. You have your concluding remarks, and we set you free.
Thank you very much. My concluding remarks are the prayer through the recommendation that I've made. Okay, that if you would like me to repeat my concluding prayers.
No, before that, can Professor Nwagaba say something and then you will conclude? Or maybe greet us.
Yes. Yes, my student wants to say something. No, he has really represented the
And I don't know why this demand is coming from Wilfred Nwagaba. Okay.
I think the governor, Chair, thank you very much, Chair.
I am happy that you are a very loyal servant of the Republic of Uganda, and you know where powers lie. Conclude, Governor.
Okay, thank you, Augustus. I think, Chair, my prayer is like I've said before.
Yeah.
The affirmation of the regular primacy, okay, that we need to confirm that the Bank of Uganda retains the exclusive authority for the regulation and supervision of the financial sector, and then explicit exemption of the regulated entities from this. And then really passing this bill the way it is is likely to generate unintended consequences which could have economic factors which are so disastrous for the economy.
Good.
I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Let me assure you, Governor, FIA and all others here, that the bill cannot pass the way it is. That's why it is here. The bill is before this committee with all these minds you have seen. We certainly shall improve on it and make it better. That's why we are listening to you. That's why we gave you a hearing. It's in recognition that the bill needs. Anything from your team, or we give a chance to members to intervene?
No, I spoke on behalf of the team.
Thank you so much. Honorable colleagues, let me hear from Honorable Nsibambi.
Yeah, thank you.
Then John Taylor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank the team and the leadership of this noble economic vehicle. We are all aware, and we are actually your clients all over, here and from remittances outside. However, that notwithstanding, first of all, you are invisible, an angel, but invisible. The majority of our people, the people we represent, actually, I've started using the term, but I don't have, not gullible, but they are really our people. You are their bank, you are their provider, but you are invisible. So if, say, a provider X got money for remittance, the terms are not known. You cannot easily tell the source. But that remittance can actually be a problem which this bill is trying to address, to cause, say, instability or economic sabotage. So how do you fault the bill in its entirety when, apart from registration and regulation by Big Brother Bank of Uganda, there's no connection with the people you provide the services, which is also a critical service. So what do you advise in terms of oversight and monitoring by government, planning, fiscal policy issues, beyond paying taxes? Because getting taxes from an illicit source is actually more harmful than useful. You better be poor without really eating haram. Thank you very much. So basically that's the point. You're doing a very good service, close now to almost 30 or so %, but you are invisible.
your participation has to do with remitting money, getting profits. But in terms of, if you look at this bill, the politicians have hijacked the bill to talk about politics. But in politics, really, politicians are not the people here. They have no role on matters to do with the development of the nation, which is vested in the state with 71% of the ordinary person. So exactly when you say this bill, and you're looking at it from the lenses of the elites, then it is a very big problem.
Thank you, Honorable Sibambi. In short, being invisible, is it by design? Okay.
Thank you,
Honorable
Chair.
Taira.
Thank you, Chair. You have given me
To be improved on. I thank you so much. I'll ask to the governor and your team and FIA and your team, you have been discharged. I'll ask Honorable Sibambi and Honorable Murima Mayuni to see you off. Thank you. I am told Honorable Sibambi attempted to be governor of his own bank at one time. So he can now seek for more skills.
That's why Greenland Bank collapsed.
Was he governor Greenland Bank? You see, that's why you need to see of the real governor now. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Director. Thank you so much.